Hey guys, and welcome to Body Talk. Today we're going to be going over the complete guide to self-treat patellar tendinitis. The complete guide because we're going to show you things that you can do early on when the pain first arises, when the pain is the most intense. I'm also going to show you some exercises that you can do later on as the pain starts to come down, things that you can do to prevent patellar tendinitis from ever happening again. Now, let's take a quick look at the anatomy. The patellar tendon actually originates from the four quad muscles. They come down, they insert into the superior side of the kneecap or patella, and then the inferior side of the patella is where the patellar tendon forms, and then it runs down and attaches onto the tibia. So patellar tendinitis is going to refer to anything that's inferior to that patella, to the kneecap, and then on down to the tibia. So early on in this rehab process, the first thing we want to do is stimulate a little blood flow to the area, stimulate some blood flow to that patellar tendon. I'm going to show you a good way to massage that patellar tendon. You can find a lubricant of any kind. You can use cocoa butter. This is Hawk Grip, emollient, kind of fragrance-free stuff. Anything, lotion that you have, anything that you might have that can work as a lubricant. Now you might see this ACL repair scar, disregard that, but patellar tendinitis is something that's very common with ACL tear. So if you have something like that and you're having pain in this region, that could be what you have going on. Now, to find this tendon, we need to find our kneecap, and I can kind of feel the inferior pole of that kneecap right there. And so basically, patellar tendon is going to be anywhere from that inferior pole to the top of this tibia here. You can kind of feel a bony prominence there on the top of that tibia, and that's where that patellar tendon inserts. Now we're going to want to kind of go midsection there. Now you may find certain points in that patellar tendon that are more sensitive than others, and you can kind of focus on those areas, kind of work out any tenderness and stimulate some blood flow, stimulate some healing to that area. This is a good way to start. If you're planning on doing stretches or exercises, we're going to show you which of those I like the most here next. And so the patellar tendon fibers run vertically. We're going to want to go horizontally with this stretch. You can go vertically with the massage, but prefer horizontally. You can actually use two fingers and come across like that. And just kind of feel free to dig deep there and kind of find that patellar tendon and really isolate those sensitive positions. No specific time frame. Now, I wouldn't hang out here for 15 minutes just grinding that patellar tendon. About 5 minutes will do, or 5 or less should be fine. Enough to kind of loosen things up, and now let's get into some stretches. The first stretch I want you to try is actually a prone rectus stretch. It's a good way to isolate the quad. With this, I'm just using what's called a stretch out strap. I'm going to try to get a link to the stretch out strap in the description soon, so be on the lookout for that. With this stretch, you want to make sure your knee's not coming out to the side, then you're coming up. Make sure your knees kind of staying close to the other leg, and then pull. And you should be able to feel a good stretch. A good stretch in the front of that leg. And that strap's just kind of adjusting to a good pulling point there. I definitely feel that in the front of my knee. That's where we want to go. Now with this, you don't want to just pull excessively into into pain. We just want to get a good stretch and then just kind of hold it there. We don't want the stretch to be painful, especially if you're in more of that acute phase, kind of early pain, true tendinitis stage. We don't want to aggravate that tendon more than it already is. But we do want to gain some mobility and flexibility within the tendon. We're going to do 3 holds for 30 seconds with this stretch. Now let's move on to the next one. Now this next stretch is one that a lot of you probably already know, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm going to get into these exercises. But we're just going to bring our affected leg. We're going to try to pull our heel to our bottom. Same thing with the prone stretch. We don't want that knee coming way out to the side. We're not really getting much quad when we do that. Bring it close to the other leg, and then also if we're coming back too far like this, we're not getting as much quad as we could. Try to bring that hip forward and then stand up tall and kind of pull until you feel that good stretch there. Again, don't want to push through a ton of pain here. We just want to push to where we get a good stretch. We're going to do 3 holds for 30 seconds with this one as well. Now, I do want to mention everything we've done so far is kind of early phase rehab for that patellar tendonitis. This next one as well, this is going to be the first strengthening exercise that we'll actually do, and we like to call these quad sets. I like to have something small and that has a little squish to it as a tactile cue to make sure we're doing this right, make sure we're getting the movement from our quad, not our hip. All we're going to do, we're going to kind of lay our leg flat. We're going to have something underneath our knee, and we're going to squeeze our quad. What I'm trying to do is trying to push the back of my knee into the towel. I want to hold that. I'm going to hold that for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that was a fast count, but you get the idea. A 5-second hold, and we'll do 30 reps of this. Anytime we have pain or inflammation of any type in a tendon or in a muscle, it causes what we call muscle inhibition. So if we've got some patellar tendinitis, it could actually cause this quad to kind of turn off in a way. It kind of lessens the muscle recruitment of that quad. It's kind of your body's way of protecting itself, but to function properly and to prevent further injury, we need this quad to fire properly. So we're going to do pushing down. We want to see the quad definition kind of come out. 5-second holds, 30 times. It is worth mentioning that if you have super tight hamstrings, you may be a little limited in this. Kind of lean back, and that can kind of help take pressure off that hamstring to make sure we're getting good quad recruitment there. 5-second holds, 30 times. Let's get into the next one. Now, this next exercise is something we therapists call a terminal knee extension. Again, this is kind of more early phase rehab. We're working on quad recruitment here. And I like the terminal knee extension in a standing position because it's more functional. Functional meaning relating to everyday life. So what's more functional, more related to everyday life? Laying on your back, pushing into a towel, or standing, straightening your knee, firing that quad. This would be the right answer. So what we're doing here is letting our knee go from a flexed position into an extended position against resistance. You just need a TheraBand or something with some resistance tied to a stable surface at about knee height. And then we're going to let that knee come forward, pull back. Same thing, we want to do 5-second holds, 30 reps with this. This tends to be a little more difficult than the quad set we did laying on our back there, but that's okay. We're kind of progressing gradually as we go through these exercises, kind of working more toward maintenance and injury prevention. Our next exercise is going to kind of up the difficulty, but we're going to use the same setup. We can use the same band. I would like it to be a little more resistance with this one, but if this is all you got, that's fine. What we're going to actually do is kind of simulate a wall squat. Without a wall, it's kind of more of an air squat, I guess you say, with an isometric hold. There's been a lot of research come out recently saying that this is a great exercise for patellar tendinitis. It's definitely worth a try. You know, the literature's there to back it up. We want to do 60-second holds with this, and we want to do 3 sets. So you want to feel a great burn in those quad muscles. The key to this exercise is that it's an isometric contraction, so it's a long hold. It kind of challenges the endurance of the patellar tendon while also giving this more of an anterior push. It kind of challenges this left side a little more than it does the right. And then we're kind of rearranging muscle tendon fibers along with some other things there. And this one's pretty difficult. You want to feel the burn. We're kind of progressing into the later stages of rehab with this exercise. And we're kind of challenging, putting a little more stress on that tendon each time. Now, after we get done with this, we're going to progress to the most difficult exercise I'm going to show you today, which is going to be the single leg squat. So our final exercise is going to be the single leg squat. I'm going to find an elevated step, and you can increase the height of your step as you feel the strength improve in your patellar tendon and as that pain subsides as well. All we're going to do is kind of take our affected side, leave it on the step. We're going to bring our unaffected limb forward, tap with our heel, and then come back. I recommend starting this with a pretty small step and then working our way up. The key to this exercise is going to be that down phase. As we're coming down, we call that an eccentric contraction. really good for building tendon strength, and then also kind of rearranging some collagen fibers in there. Now, this is the first exercise we've done that we're allowing that knee to come over our toes and possibly a little bit in front of our toes, adding a stretch to that patellar tendon. Now, this is going to make that patellar tendon really, really strong. If you're familiar with the knees over toes guy, this is his entire philosophy, which is good. We want to progress to this moment, though. We don't want to just jump into it if we've got an acute patellar tendinitis. We want to do sets of 30 because we want to fatigue this quad and that tendon as much as possible. And you can actually do this exercise on a slant board, kind of adding to that effect of the anterior force on that patellar tendon. A great way to kind of progress this thing and increase the strength and prevent injury even more so. That's going to wrap it up with Body Talk today. That's going to be the complete guide to rehabbing patellar tendinitis on your own. If you liked the video, do me a favor, hit the like button. We appreciate that so much. If you feel led to do so, subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of great videos out there. We got some more coming up. If you have pain in your lower back, your hips, your neck, any body part, check out the channel. We may have something that helps you. We'll see you next time with Body Talk.